This is brought to you by Be Your GPS, Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self, and the 21-Day Challenge. If you are an entrepreneur or a high achiever, you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or lost, and you want to get that clarity back, dial in your performance and take it to the next level. You'll have 21 days of accountability one-on-one with me and break through all your BS and nonsense that might be keeping you stuck from success. That is the 21-Day Challenge. If you want to join, send me a message. Chris@beyourgps.com. Looking forward to hearing from you. Next up is the iTunes review of the week. It's by ASLD, and they say, such an uplifting energy. Chris shines so brightly. This is a man on a mission to spread love and authenticity. I'm in awe of his commitment to having fun, creating a life of fulfillment and abundance, and supporting others to do the same. Keep up the good work, Chris. The world needs you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. If you want to give us a review, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes and let us know what you love, what you think can be improved. We love that feedback. Or you can search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store. Thanks so much in advance. All right. This is the final interview of the day. I'm going to be bringing on Corey in just a sec here. He's ready to go. I feel it. I feel we're about to bust the doors open on this final interview, and we're going to bring the heat for you. So make sure you have a pad and pen, paper, ready to take notes, ready to dial in the wisdom. This guy just gives with his full heart so that you can grow into your greatest possible self. Tons of entrepreneurial experience and wisdom. 3 times best-selling author. We'll get into all that good stuff, but make sure you stay tuned because Corey is going to bring the fire. Let's introduce him and then bring him on the show. Okay? Mr. Corey Gladwell. Whew! 3 times best-selling author Corey Gladwell is a speaker and coach who has built his knowledge of entrepreneurship and the path to enlightenment on a lifetime's experience. After struggling on Section 8 and welfare when he was young, Corey grew an intense desire to succeed. By age 23, Corey owned a nightclub with his own vodka brand and a restaurant, all of which were highly prosperous, only to self-sabotage his own success. After experiencing a spiritual awakening where he was able to connect with the oneness of all life, he now runs a wildly successful business leading others to the freedom they desire through personal and financial transformations. And we're blessed to have him here with us today. Corey, you ready to rock this, bro?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Let's go, baby. You're now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Thank you so much for being here, for being a light in the world, empowering and uplifting people. We appreciate you taking your time out of your schedule, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I'm pumped. I've been watching some of the ones earlier. This is it's exciting to be on, so thank you for having me.
Fire, bro. Let's dive right into the theme of the day, which is take a stand. Corey, what does this mean to you? Take a stand, and how does it show up for you in your life?
So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about too when we talked about first doing this podcast in a sense, in my own way, which is take a stand for yourself. Take a stand for your energy, your emotional state, your mental state. That is the one simple thing that I kind of wrote with the title, the one thing that you can do to create anything else in your life, the version of you want to be in, the relationship you want to be with, the life you want to live, anything. Is holding that energy within you, holding your thoughts, your emotional state above everything else. And so when I hear the words take a stand for yourself. Don't let that one thing throw you off. Don't let that random person messaging or that random comment or that person cutting you off or that someone just being mean, rude, how much we let that just affect us and then infect us and then take us on a whole different path. So take a stand for yourself. That's what that means to me.
That's right, baby. That's right. Starting off with that fire, Corey. Love it. Okay.
Straight out the gate.
Dude, this is how it's the whole interview. 60 minutes of fire. Fire in your face, dropping it in your lap, whatever.
That's right.
I love it. I love it, man. So let's dive into who is Corey. What do you stand for, man?
So honestly, it's such a vague thing, but all I can say is freedom. That's really, that sums it up. In every way, there's, the income to impact, there's, creating, your highest self, eliminating to elevate, the whole program, the way, everything we work on in my 4th book. And the new program is called Eliminate to Elevate, which is about that fire, about just burning off all that excess. So those beliefs, those thoughts, those emotions, those, financial debts, whatever it is, emotional debts you have that are just weighing you down, burning that off. But that all adds up to freedom. That's really what it's about. All I've ever wanted in my life was freedom, financially, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, in every single way. I wanted freedom for myself, for my family, everyone I meet. I'm like, there's no roadblocks. There's no, just I was bored and like just out of the hospital, running around, trying to just break other kids free. I'm like, come on, let's get out of here. What are you doing? Locking us up. So it's like that I think is the summation of it, is really just freedom, just eliminating all the excess, finding out what that truth is for you, and just having complete freedom. So,
dude, I love it, man. So you obviously were not always this inspired and congruent with empowering people and freeing them from their own shackles and empowering them with freedom. So let's go back in the journey, man. Talk about where it all really began for you to become this epic entrepreneur, multi-time best-selling author. Like, how did it all start?
Yeah, so honestly, like, the childhood stuff, the Section 8 welfare, all that stuff, the drugs and being around all that was a big part of it, because in my mind, it started with I saw being broke and on Section 8 welfare as drugs and violence and pain and suffering, right? So then I'm like, okay, being rich, that doesn't happen, which we know is not true, but that was my mindset. Was the only opposite I knew was it must be being poor. So I tied it to money, which led me to entrepreneurship, because I couldn't listen to anyone. I can't still listen to anyone. So I was like, I started selling apples. I'm on buy apple, 6 apples for $1. I would go sell them while she was in the shower for $1 a piece, make a little 5 times profit. And that kind of continued on as I grew up. And then, when I was in high school, the thing is I partied, I did a lot of drugs. I didn't really know where I fit in. Like, I'm an athletic body, but I couldn't really stick through sports without getting in a fight or getting upset. My ego was so huge that like, I always thought someone was watching and everything I was doing. So I couldn't even let myself get in flow with sports or anything else, had great grades, but I just dropped out because I couldn't handle it. Try to do drugs and party too much, quit. So then even that leading up to like when I had the nightclub and the vodka brand and all that, I had these dreams. I wrote everything down when I was 17. I was actually in Hawaii. I wrote down own a nightclub, own a restaurant, own a vodka brand, clothing line. I think I was watching like the Fabulous Life Club. So I was probably seeing Diddy or Jay-Z, and I was like, own a car, buy an island. There was probably Richard Branson on there. So, it was just whatever. But I had these things of like, I want to create this abundant life that I never had. But what that led into, because I wasn't intentional about it, what that led into was me being more of an asshole. Me, instead of inspiring, uplifting people, I was selling alcohol to people at a club or doing drugs and partying, or wanting more for people and fun and freedom, but it was more so perpetuating people's sicknesses versus actually, giving them a way out. So,
Damn. So you were caught up in this cycle of kind of like low vibration, low like energy stuff, but it was progressing you forward. But like on one hand, you're making money and you're growing, but on the other hand, you're like shooting yourself in the foot and like staying in that poverty consciousness and like feeling like you're trapped versus like breaking free and really making a difference for people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That the poverty consciousness. That's exactly what it is. No matter how much money I got, I had $3 million businesses at one point in my early 20s. No high school degree, no college degree, no family money was investing. It was like putting business plans together, getting investors, getting everything, making my own money. Like, it was a lot of amazing things. A lot of things the accolades that I was proud of. But at the same token, it's because of that poverty consciousness. As soon as I would get the money, I would spend it. As soon as I got something, I would sabotage. As soon as I would find a way to not truly accept just being in this now moment, just being in love with life, being grateful. So no matter if I had $1 million or 5 million or $5, I didn't appreciate it in a sense. So a dollar meant as much as $1 million did at that point. There was no correlation to being successful internally as well as externally at the same time. So
So you went through this phase of like being bankrupt emotionally and spiritually in your life. How did you grow through that?
Honestly, a lot of drugs at first. Like, if I'm being real, a lot of partying, a lot of drugs. Anyone who grew up with me and knows me, I didn't hide it either. It wasn't like I was secretive about it. I would go out anywhere with anyone, and I really didn't give a shit. Because for me, the part of the self-sabotage thing and the bankrupt emotionally, spiritually, is that my higher self wanted to destroy my ego. And how else better to destroy your ego than to pretty much shame it in front of everyone, do anything crazy, outlandish. There's nowhere you can go. You can't brush yourself off and be like, nope, that wasn't me. It's like, no, that was you. That was you. You did all of that to yourself, to family, friends. You were that person. And so that's how it started. And then towards the end of 2011, I think I went to a New Year's party and it was fun with some friends, but I was just like, what am I doing? I'm seeking. I'm still seeking. And I destroy everything. Like, just let go. And so the first couple of weeks of January, actually 7 years ago, this month, I sat, it was in my parents' house, and I sat in the room, and I just kind of was like, I'm going to go inward. I'm going to kind of look in, which is what I grew up knowing, spiritually. I was always spiritual and would seek and search, but I never really stuck to a path. And so January 2012, I started looking inward and asking questions and somewhat meditating, but more in a just self-reflective way. And I asked a series of 2 or 3 questions, and then that's when I popped out and had the 3 weeks of enlightenment, the oneness, the kind of Eckhart Tolle, Byron Katie experience. And from then on out, it was just, dedication. So
I love it.
Like,
man.
it is real. It is real. Okay, I'm doing this. No more.
I love it, man. I love it. So you had that experience where you're like, okay, there's something bigger here. How did you go about translating that into your purpose, or making a business and helping other people with it?
Yeah. So that's been the journey. The last 7 years, honestly, during that 3 weeks, it was just unconditional love, oneness, bliss. Visions of future and past, seeing, the chakras. I felt all the chakras, seeing energy, all the stuff that like I grew up hearing about and was like, oh, that's cool, but never really believed. It was like, that sounds like a cool theory, but actually experientially, viscerally having that happen. I went on a path of meditation. So I spent almost every day in meditation since then. It's been 2,500, something like that, hours of meditation, just almost every single day for at least an hour. And I started writing in January or July 2012. I started really writing a lot. That was my first book, which is the Human Experience, my first one. And I wrote that mainly in 2012, and in some bits and pieces over the years since then. And then that was during that whole time. It was, okay, how do I give that information, and then how do I work on, okay, what's the actual real world implementation of the knowledge? Because knowledge and information without any actual action is just like a poison. It can just poison us. So I'm sure there's 1,000 really great quotes that I'm probably missing. I could just nail right now, but that is so I started building like businesses, and I had real estate still was kind of my main thing. Real estate I've always been involved in, and I was doing that for money at the time, making good money. But I just dumped everything into internet marketing, media, understanding ClickFunnels and understanding every mastermind. I mean, I met all the people when I had no business. I just went to every mastermind. I did every event, did everything. I got up, I think every day for almost a year and a half at 4:30 a.m. And worked for 2.5, 3 hours before my family or friends or anyone woke up. And then went and worked some more just so I could learn and absorb. Evan Pagan, Jeff Walker. I mean, everyone you could think of. I just sat there and listened and read everything and watched every course. And I think I spent $50,000 just learning things. And then, because I wanted to understand all of it so that I could build okay, how do I do it? How do I implement it? And then how can I reverse engineer that? So that's kind of what I did. Everything I learned, I like from the spiritual experience, from the book, writing it, this is what came to me. Boom. Here's the next book. Here's the next book. So now I'm on book 4 to every single tech thing, building apps, building websites, building funnels. I recorded everything and put it in there. Coaching, I recorded all that, put that in a course. Being publishing my own books, launching them to bestseller. I did, Author Alliance, done pre-publishing and stuff. And so just everything I did, I would record it and stash it, and then I would sell it if people wanted it. And then I've kind of compiled more and more together. And throughout that time, coaching was the one thing that, whether in group coaching or one-on-one, that really was the way to really help people step out of their own space, help them objectify their subjective mind, and then the information from the courses or materials or books could really actually sink in and digest. So
wow, that's powerful, man. So it's like you were creating all this content and stuff, like focusing on different areas, books, courses, training, online marketing, all these different things. You would document your process of doing it and how to kind of thing. And you found that was supplemental material for people when they were going through one-on-one or group coaching programs to be able to help them in whatever specific area they wanted to go deeper in. Yeah,
absolutely. So that was kind of my thing, is that, I'm not going to say every meme I've ever posted I was living by at the exact time, which I try to if I'm posting it, but I think we're all guilty at some point. This is how I want to feel, that's like how I'm feeling this morning. But majority, I mean, everything that I sell, I have experienced myself. So I don't feel, for me, congruent with selling something if I'm saying this is what that is, if I haven't done it. So doesn't mean I can't coach people who are more successful or smarter or they live in different areas, different businesses. That's a whole different topic. But as far as a course, like Author Alliance, becoming a best-selling author, Client Mastery Now, becoming a 6-7-figure coach, all the ClickFunnels courses, everything, websites, that whole thing, I wanted to build kind of breadcrumbs behind anything I had done and then pass them on. And that kind of all kind of started coming to what I now have my media company, which is kind of this conglomerate of everything, from building everything for you to teaching everything. We have just a full spectrum of everything within that 505 Media. Just that's kind of where it came to, because I'm like, I wanted to know if someone came to me in any situation, any place with any amount of income, low or extremely high, you're making, 9 figures or you're making $9 an hour or whatever it is. And if you live here or you live there or you want this, or you want that, whatever age you were, I wanted to find a way to be able to say, here's where you can start, or here's where you can start, or here's where you can start, and have a breadcrumb like kind of path for them to be able to follow that not that they can't go anywhere else, but that they wouldn't have to necessarily, and they could have that sphere in that world to kind of come to. So
yeah. One thing I love about you, Corey, is how much energy you have. You speak quickly. You can tell, like we can tell you're a doer. You take massive fucking action. Like that's who you are. Do you ever feel like you wanted to grow faster than you could, kind of thing, and you reach too far? Because I know that even for me, I'm doing my best to stay in one lane, and I'm like still feel like I'm reaching.
Dude, I'm the king. I am the king of that. Yeah, I'm the king of that. It's like a 1,000%. Like I'll build one project, and then someone else will come up with another idea, and I'll be like, okay, I'll start building that. But then I'll have 4 ideas that tie to that project, and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to build all of it today. And it's like it's not realistic. So I absolutely have done that, and what's funny is I used to get upset, and I used to feel like it bit me in the ass, or part of my language if anyone was upset about that. But I used to feel like it bit me, and it was a bad thing. But then I just learned how to, and not that I perfected by any means, but then I learned how to prioritize what really matters right now for me, for my clients, for myself, and then I've understood too that every single thing that I'm doing or working on, whether it's a book I'm reading, or a book I'm writing, or a course or program or something we're doing, there's all these different correlations of how they tie together. And so when I started opening my mind up to that, and seeing how, these variations of things are really all interconnected, like the whole oneness experience, right? Energetically, if I can feel that energetically and emotionally, and we all know that we are one, concept, then everything I'm really doing, working on is really for some higher energetic thing that's really trying to point me to one real answer. And so when I start looking at business that way in every project I'm working on, then it kind of makes me feel more at ease, right? And I can stay more in flow, so I can do that, kind of kick-ass attitude and have that ambition, but not get to the point of frustration and then irritation and anger, because that's where, at the beginning, the whole take a stand. I had to take a stand for my energetic space, because as much energy as I have, right, this ambition I have, this excitement I have, imagine when it turns the other direction. Right. It's a big ball of fire that can light up a whole room, or it could burn a building down. Right. So it's that's where I had to learn how to really own that energy. And so when I take responsibility for that sense of power and energy I have within me, then I don't let things affect me as much. And then I realize, okay, and I have this kind of daily ritual. I'll go, okay, I'm doing everything I can do right now for everything I'm able to work on, and I'll just kind of make peace with that. And then I don't get as frustrated. 'Cause, when I first started, I remember when I first watched, I think Russell Brunson's, shout out to Russ if you're on here, but I had Russell Brunson's first, when he first was really scaling up ClickFunnels, and he still has his auto webinar. I don't remember what it was called, but it was the Essence Suite. You could buy the full ClickFunnels thing or whatever on a webinar for $9.97 or whatever. And I watched that and I bought it, and it was Christmas time one year or something, and I was like, by March, I'm going to be doing $100,000 a month with all these funnels. And I hadn't even logged in yet, but that was, so yeah, I definitely get ahead of myself a little bit sometimes. So.
But it's that ambition and that excitement, that brings the vision alive, and it pulls it towards you. It's right. A magnificent obsession, and you just keep cultivating it. No matter what it is, it's you're constantly generating that. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs lack that. A lot of entrepreneurs lack the obsession, the fire, the willingness to break through resistance. And you, coming from humble beginnings and having to work your ass off, gave you that mentality of I'm gonna do whatever it takes, and it might have had some challenges and backfires, so to speak, and damage in the collateral damage in the beginning, but over time you've really developed yourself to be mindful of, like you said, that energy, your space around you, and what you're putting out into the world. So for entrepreneurs who don't have that motivation and I don't want to say motivation, but because a lot of them have motivation and a want, a desire, but they don't necessarily have the burning obsession like you have. How would you recommend they cultivate that?
So I think the first part I would say is it's anyone who's in that space who because I think there is such a a stigma with, I think, humanity itself, talking about negative emotions and pain and suffering and depression and suicidal thoughts. And if you're an entrepreneur and you know anyone who's a successful entrepreneur, you can ask them. We all have gone through that. Like, and I still to this day, I can have moments, not as much now, but I've had a ton of moments, even like a few weeks ago, where like I'll just complain and yell and vent, and it'll seem like I have like a venting moment. You know, I'm just like, wow, like not yelling at anyone, just like, you know, just like, oh, you know, throwing up, getting it out of me, right? And it sounds like you know, my family, my mom, or like, you know, my girlfriend or my friends would be like, oh, he's, you know, every time, if you didn't know me, you'd be like, he's really giving up on life. You know, he's just gonna play everything. And I just am like, and then I'll go to bed and I'll wake up and it's like, I start over and I'm like, boom,
damn,
cool. Like,
that's awesome.
And so it's like, so when we have the first thing is like, just allow yourself to do that. Like, you don't have to like own that as who you are just because you sound like you're going to give up or you want to give up. Let it out, release that energy, and just like boom, start over again. Because and this leads to the second part. The reason that I keep doing it, and maybe, you know, I don't know if it's, I don't think it's anything special to me at all. I think it's just a matter of people really outlining what it is they truly want. Like a lot of us, especially where I came from, and I think it's to everyone, I don't care where they came from, the life we desire. Because no matter where someone comes from, rich or poor or sick or healthy or anything, we all desire something, some life or some person we want to be, some person we want to be with, some life we want to have. Financially, you know, emotionally, mentally, all the different areas, right? Physically. And it seems almost impossible. It seems almost like it's out of reach. And especially when you get in those moments where you're kind of failing and you're crumbling and you're starting over again, you're rebuilding, you're starting over again, big or small, even if it's just like a fail every day. Like I know for me as an entrepreneur, it's like 4 times a day I feel like I failed in something, even if I didn't. It's just like I couldn't get some automation to work, or I couldn't get this to send, or I couldn't feel the right thing to write, or whatever. I feel like I failed in something. Or it could be a big life failure, you know, like crash and burn too. But, you know, but like every time we have those things, it's hard to get back up and keep going, because I think we don't know truly the experience that we are really searching for. We know what we think we want. We know what we think we want to feel and what we want to have and everything. So what I would say is different. I'll get to my point here because I can get long-winded, is that when I do the work I do in the way, that's good in my 4th book, or the way program, and I just a daily thing I do every day, but sitting in meditation, and really identifying that person I am becoming, or I want to become, really identifying the life I want to have. Like living here in Hawaii has been a dream of mine since I was 12 years old. Man. You know, being who I am today, like literally pretty much died to become this person. Right. So so like there's, you know what I mean? There's so many things that if I really look at, when I would meditate, I would feel this feeling of like having the love I have with the girl I'm with, and being able to sit on this beach and watch these Hawaii sunsets, and being able to wake up with more money than I went to sleep with, and not having to worry about bills or food or stress, and just being able to like travel anywhere and have anything, and not have any alarm clock, or not have any, you know, all these different things, perfect health and clarity of mind, and people that love and support me in a community. And like when you really sit in meditation and find that amount of gratitude and love, and just like, for it, no matter what happens, you will never be able to not go for it. Wow. Right? Like once you experience that and you know that's a reality, you can't trick yourself. No matter how frustrated you're, how many times you fail, you get closer and you fall down. You get closer, you fall down. Yeah. You're never going to be able to trick yourself to be like, no, I don't really want it. No, you know that. You know that. You know it's real. So you just get up. You just shake it off. You journal it out, write it out, talk to someone, call a friend, do whatever, go to therapy, whatever works for anyone. Get the shit out and start over again and keep building. Because what else are you going to do? Like it's that dream that you've always wanted, or what? Like, you know, why? Why would you not? You know, like, so.
Dude, I love it. So it's like get clarity first, build and stoke the fire, the flames of desire, the flames of like burning obsession, to be able to go after that. And when you have that, then no matter what you do, no matter how many times you get knocked down, get defeated, whatever, like once it was built, you can't forget that feeling, that experience, that connection to that's my fucking purpose. That's where we're going. Like no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
And that fire comes and you get pumped about it. And then and when I get frustrated too, like the way that I've been able to calm my big frustrations now too, like, and I don't have them much, like when some random thing calls, or a chargeback happens from a course sale or something, or, you know, or whatever, you know, you get a ticket or a fine, or, you know, just whatever, like big or small thing can happen that just throws you off. You're like, I was having a great day and I'm this, you know, you know, or, you know, so whatever breaks or doesn't happen, you know, how I've been able to just like consistently keep that even keel of just like gratitude and joy is that part of that, knowing that deep desire. But then also when the frustration comes is like, instead of feeling like things are against me, like you have to erase the victim mentality completely. Like my first book, the first chapter, the first section in there says the number one most important choice you have to make is to be a creator or a victim in everything in life. And so anytime I feel that like victim mentality, like something's like, it's not working out for me or something, I stop and I'm like, okay, what do you want from me? Like whether it's God, universe, or my higher self or whatever, like, what are you trying to show me? Why did I miss? Like I went to dinner the other night. We went to go see fireworks in Honolulu, missed the fireworks by like 4 minutes. Came around there and they ended as we were getting there. And then we're going to dinner right after that. Then we're like a few minutes late to the dinner. We get there. They sit us down in this like really crinky little booth. I mean, this is very like first world problems, but still like it was an amazing day to lead up to that, like the thing. And then we missed this like fancy dinner we had reservations for like, a few days ahead. Had to leave there. Went to go somewhere else. They didn't serve. Had to get parking out of there, paid extra parking. We drove there. Ended up not eating until like 10 p.m. Hawaii time, which is like, I don't know, sometime in the middle of the night Eastern time and, midnight Pacific time. And so we finally did there, parked, went to go to this movie that we had already bought tickets for as well. So we're kind of late to that, trying to figure it out. And we sat there and I'm like, hey, why did all that happen? Like, what did you want me to learn? What did you want me to see? What was that? And when I come from that, like, what am I trying to learn? What are you trying to give me versus gift me versus take away or stress me out? Wow. That is like a whole other receiving creator kind of consciousness. And from that place, like I learned so many beautiful things and so many just amazing insights that just had this whole last week just be like a whole other new level of reality from just letting go and trying to learn what I was there to learn versus like, oh, screw this, I'm upset, that's annoying, blah, blah. And then you just kind of like, that carries on to the next day. And so, yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. And compared to like when you had that moment or a couple weeks of bliss, right? You talked about that moment where you're in total bliss and like awakening, so to speak, and feeling that spiritual, divine connection and alignment. Compared to that, like how is your life different now? Is it still the same? Have you grown? Have you made that more a part of your life? What would you say is the difference?
So during my life then?
Yeah.
To now?
Yeah.
I mean, it's everything. So I guess the best way I could say it, everything that I felt on the inside during that enlightenment experience is now external.
Ah, damn. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I hadn't actually thought to ask that question. So thank you for asking. I'm like answering like, that's really dope. That's amazing. Yeah. This is what I had visions of. So during that time when I had that, I would kind of like just sit there and have meditations and these visions of the future and these amazing experiences and this overwhelming love and gratitude and just joy. And it was here. I saw a lot of me being in Hawaii and a lot of the things I do today and speaking and doing talks and writing books. And none of that existed. I mean, I had just gone bankrupt from like 3 businesses, had nothing. I had no car, no license, no money, no nothing. Yeah. And I was in every way bankrupt, so it's like, this is the external version of that internal reality. And I get to practice with staying connected to that every single day and checking in with that every single day and staying, connected. So
that's badass, man. I love it. What is the way? Tell us more about this. What is that program, that philosophy? Tell us more. Yeah.
So the way is all about eliminating to elevate. It kind of stems from my 4th book, that I'm putting together soon, or releasing soon, called The Way Home. And the book's got 12 chapters. The program's got 12 weeks, 12 modules. And so the whole point of the book, the program, everything is just letting go of the excess. So like, for example, that like what we just talked about, like that spiritual experience in January 2012 to January 2019, where I am now, 7 years. The only thing that really separated me from having that internally and externally wasn't 7 years, but was a set of beliefs of believing I could have that. Like allowing that to show up, allowing that to being able to receive that, allowing myself to tap into becoming, or I guess relinquishing what is not me, so I can allow what is me, not to become what is me, but allow what is me to come through and my life to come through and the expression of that to come through. That 7 years could have been 7 months or 7 days if I had just allowed it. And I had just said, I feel called to go to Hawaii, and I went to Hawaii. And then I felt called to coach, or I started coaching. That could have been a much if I had just felt like, everything happens how it happened. I'm so grateful it did, but that's kind of the point of the way, is that we can quantum leap so many things in life and jump to, the experience of being who we want to be, where we want to be, what we want to be, having the life, the business, everything. when we eliminate things in the way of us being able to see that and experience it. And the example I give is, when they first started, when like the Spanish started, like Spaniards, but started coming over here to Central America, and Mexico, that whole kind of area there. The natives that were on, there's a whole story about this. The natives that were on land, literally all they saw was just men hop into water and then walk on the water to them. In the water to them. They had no, they didn't see the actual ships that came towards the shore because they had no perceptual ability. They had no reference in their mind of what that is, what that kind of ship was that they had built and came here with. That's the same still today, the same human mind we have today. There's so much happening around us. There's so much happening within us in our reality, and not just like, spiritually or anything else, but in every type of sense, the answers are always there. Everything is always right here. Asking to be seen, asking to be felt, asking to be experienced, and all the way is just eliminating that excess in the between that. And so it came to all of us. I mean, me, my business partner Jeff, Karina, Harold, a ton of different people have kind of molded it and shaped it with us together to kind of put it into one thing, because there's so much out there that says, let's work on your beliefs. Let's work on your business. Let's work on your money or your relationship stuff or your relationship with money and people and business and everything. And then remove the quote unquote bad beliefs or limiting beliefs. Right. But then I constantly would see people just in businesses, huge conventions, seminars, everything. Here, let's implant a new belief in there. And I'm like, no, you just got them free. You just, like why give them something else to chew on? That's just more belief prison, things they're going to have to hop through later or remove later. So, so instead of telling anyone what to believe or who to believe or how to believe, we just allow them to have the freedom to be able to choose, to be that open vessel, to see clearly, have that information. And then we have all the tools necessary to be able to have that accountability, that support, and the business developing, the whole media companies behind it, everything on course is all included in it. Everything I've kind of done is all university inside there. And the thing is too, the way that we believe about the work is that pretty much everything is for free, minus the accountability and kind of the working together on it. So Unlocked Away in the Facebook group, you can join that, and you can get all the worksheets for free. You can get all the instructions, how-tos in there. It's all in there. And do it yourself if you want. The only thing people will actually pay for is if they want accountability, they want to grow with us, and then the business building tools and everything else that we kind of add in there. But yeah, we want to spread that as far as possible and allow people to just kind of have that freedom inside, so they can again choose out here from a place of true free will and not from some other programming. So
yeah, so specifically the way is eliminating the excess, and most likely that's the unserving beliefs, the past paradigms that are toxic, that are negative, that are limiting, that are constricting, and even ones that might be like okay or like serving but not totally serving, like the greatness, so to speak, like people's greatness and expansion, maximum expansion, because like even if we have a belief and it's serving us, it might not always serve us, is kind of like what you're saying. It's still could be a belief prison that we've set ourselves up in to, let's say we're safe, but safe for what end, and if we want to expand and impact people's lives, then staying safe in a corporate job or something like that is not for our ultimate greatness. So the way helps us eliminate those unserving beliefs. And tell us a little bit more about the choosing of like freely, choosing freely after that. How does that work? How do we activate that, so to speak?
Yeah, so and you said it perfectly. So it's like, we have, like, for example, the corporate job thing. We tend to feel like we're safe in the corporate job because we get a paycheck, when it's just as insecure as being an entrepreneur, because they can fire you, they can shut down, they can get sued, you could die on the way to work tomorrow. Like any of that could happen. You really have no idea, but we have a sense of safety. And so that's kind of that thing, like that belief around that becomes limiting. Doesn't mean you have to quit your job. Doesn't mean you have to or not believe the bad or good beliefs, like the ceilings, right? Those greatness ceilings, right? Those good beliefs that we feel are amazing, but we hit a ceiling and we tap down. Yeah. I think it was Don Miguel Ruiz's mother who said, "Are you using knowledge, or is knowledge using you?" And I think that kind of is the summation of it, where when you are able to question everything, question every single belief, especially the good ones. Like I questioned the 3 weeks of enlightenment, the Kundalini type thing, the unconditional love, the oneness, like every single amazing, totally society approved belief as well. I questioned all those as well, and they felt so good, right? They felt so good, but I'm like, why would I want to question those? They feel good, but those can be the most dangerous as well. And so I question everything, because now once you have freedom, you can still have the knowledge. You can have all the beliefs, positive or negative, but now you have the freedom to pick and choose which ones you want to use. And when you want to use them, you want to pick them up and kind of put that avatar of that belief on, the corporate job person, put that avatar on, cool, I'm going to go to work, do my corporate job thing. Then you can take that off, and now I'm going to do my entrepreneur thing, or whatever those things are. Or now I'm going to, the father role, or the son role, or the, whatever those things are, you can play that and embody that while you're engaging in that, that kind of character and that enjoyment. But it's not something that you are attached to as an identity, whether it be life or a person. And because that dense attachment is where, that's when something feels like it's going to let go of, or you have an opportunity to go higher and elevate, you will actually sabotage that because you're attached to this identity that you're stuck on. So that, I think, is the biggest part for me, is just really, once you're free from all those beliefs, now you have the choice to come from free will. So when people ask, if you ask anyone, like right now, anyone listening, or yourself, or anyone, I ask myself every day, because it changes all the time, but what do you really want? Like, what do you really, really want? If you can have anything, anywhere, anytime, anyone, and you can snap your fingers, what would it be? What do you really want? And if you like really sit with it, it's like, that's a kind of a deep, hard question to truly let sink in. And the more that we actually unravel and kind of loosen up all these things, now you're coming from a higher self, like you're connected, open vessel space to let that answer actually come through of what you truly want. Right. And then we go, okay, now that you have that freedom, now you know you truly want, now let's take the steps to build that life way faster, way better, and in a more sustainable way than you ever could before, very quickly. And that's all in that program right there. So your choices aren't coming from, oh, I'm going to change this later, or sabotage, or whatever, or in and out of this, in and out of that. It's like a very clear, open vessel. Here's truly your highest self, what you truly actually are feeling you desire, without any of the ego things around it. And now let's build from that place and build something that's forever.
That's awesome, man. That's so incredible. So, like, really, it's getting clear on what you really, really want. And do you find that happens? I think you said there's a process that you have as well as when you meditate. Like, you can ask yourself that question and see what comes through you. Would you say that those are the primary ways to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So both writing and listening. So like even with the way itself, it's all about you asking your higher self. So even when we have coaching sessions, either individually or group or anything like that, all we're doing is asking you the questions for you to ask your higher self. So we're not going to give you the answers. We're not going to do anything. We're just asking the question. The worksheets are there. You can ask yourself. You can do them at home. They're all in the Facebook group. And you just kind of ask and meditate and let the first answer come through. Sometimes it's, people, the psychics always say clairvoyant, clairaudience, whatever, the different types, images, sounds, audio, whatever. It's not psychic. It's just literally just information. And it's all accessible to anyone. And so you just ask and you listen. You may see an image, you may hear a sound, you may hear a thought, but we have that filter of that ego that kind of, oh no, that can't be it. It blocks. Like, oh no, that can't be it. That can't be it. When we remove that and we're in that clear space where we don't feel like anyone's judging us, even ourselves, we get those clear answers, they come through, and then you can either hear them and then speak them for yourself or write them down like stream of consciousness, right? And answer them through the worksheets that way. And now you're able to dump through and clear through, and you get the answers of what you need to clear, when you need to clear, how you need to clear. And the more you just dump that out, then you become a bigger and bigger vessel, which can hold, more and more from the universe around us. So.
Damn, that's epic, man. That's epic. That's super cool. Yeah. So, like, how did you know that the way was what you were put here to do, so to speak? How did this come through you that this is your purpose?
So, the way, writing a book started in 2012. I started writing in like 2008. And I was going to write a book about words, just called Definitions. And right before I bought like a nightclub and everything, I was like, I'm going to write a book. And then this never happened, obviously. But it would have been the funniest book about words. And so 2012, I had a lot of meditations and insights about writing the books and started journaling, writing a lot. And the way actually started after I've written the three books I have out now, which is, the Human Experience, Enlightenment, Entrepreneurs, and What If. I had published those all out. They came through meditation, then I wrote them all down. And then I started writing a book called You Are God. And I didn't really want to publish it with that. My buddy Spencer was saying the same thing. He was like, well, you have some social responsibility to tell everyone they're God. That might end bad. And I remember I was like, what are you talking about? And I saw a news article the next day, or like Como 7 News or something like that. And it was like, man steals car, claims to dealership salesman that he is God. I was like, oh, that's a good point. Okay. So I changed it to The Way Home, which had more of a emotional pull to it anyway. Started writing the book. And then this last year in 2017, fall and the winter of 2017, 2018, I had another massive, if you ever watched the movie Ready Player One, mixed with like The Matrix, that's pretty much what my August 2017 till almost July 2018 was like. In reality, it was the most mind-bending, insane experience I'd gone through. And so during that time, the rephrasing it as The Way came to me, and then I'm doing a lot of different things like Bulletproof Labs and doing a lot of different nutrient testing and all these different things in 2018 about being able to unravel DNA and unlock it and stuff. So I kind of put that in there. And in March, my buddy Jeff called me and goes, "Have you ever heard of the 12-strand DNA thing, blah, blah," from our friends in Australia that do a kind of a similar version of what The Way is. And I was like, no. And then so he sent me some articles, started talking about it, and I was like, huh. So I told him about The Way, and he was like, "This is it, the same thing." So we started kind of building that out, and then it's just slowly morphed and changed and been, kind of grown into its own thing. So I don't know, I never know what I'm necessarily always here to do besides be here. But I know that when something, the one thing that I've seen a lot of people get sick, either physically, emotionally, financially, relationship wise, or anything, entrepreneurs or anything else, is when they're not owning what's been given to them within, and they're clogging up that universal flow. And that can come out in physical symptoms, financial symptoms, your job, you also get fired, you get sick when you go to that place, your relationship starts suffering. It's because whatever energy that is really your highest self is flowing through you is dude, go, come on. You have this huge thing inside you need to get out. And when you start getting it out, everything will get back in alignment. So that's been my truth. And I've seen people with that before. So that's usually when I have things come through me. I'm not I don't just regurgitate, Tourette's it out everywhere as soon as it comes, but I just write it down and try to make sure I deliver to everyone I can, whatever messages are flowing to me. So
that's awesome. What do you think will be required before you're literally able to say you are God to people? Because I believe the same thing, and I have a resistance to speaking that and calling that forth, that reality, that paradigm.
It's hard. So yeah. So the one answer, and I have moments of this, but I'm not there all the time. So I have hard times too. I'll say it to anyone, but I don't want to constantly push it, because it's I'm I know how difficult it was for me, and I feel like I've been practicing for a while, so I don't know how ready everyone will be. But it's personal attachment. Personal attachment. When I experienced everything the last year and a half, and even the spiritual experience in 2012, the comparison, mentally, in the last year and a half was really a lot of more mental, of God kind of experience, mental plane, I guess I would say, of consciousness, being able to kind of morph and create an instantaneous, the law of attraction was instant. If I felt something or I desired anything, within moments, it would appear, it would come. People would call or show up. It wasn't like a text message. People would show up or deliver anything I desired, anything I thought of. But that was good or bad. It's shame or love or desire. Every single level is how it works, and every level of consciousness can be instantaneous. But 2012 was more emotional. It was that oneness from my heart space, this unconditional love and bliss. So merging those two together, when I kind of analyzed and looked at the differences really of what that was like, and how to have that magnitude of the mind of reality from God, and then also the emotional state of oneness from God. Right. The difference is personal preference and personal attachment. As long as I am truly identified and attached to Corey Gladwell, as the who I am. Not that it's bad too, but as long as I'm attached to that, that's when I kind of drop a little level lower than the Godhead, right? It doesn't mean that I'm not still that God within and a piece of it like we all are. But to be that big of a vessel, right? That eliminate to elevate, right? The Way Home book is all about that. You can go all the way and go to the God reference, go to that state, but that you have to be that big of a vessel to hold this entire universe within you. And how can you hold this entire universe within you if you still have any personal preference? Because you can't take a side. as God. God doesn't take sides. God doesn't love one child more than the other. God doesn't see light and dark. It isn't in duality, right? It's all, right? So to hold that space, to be that big of a vessel, to love every single being that exists and doesn't exist, it's alive and not alive, all at once, you really can't have any personal attachment, personal preference. So we can go there in meditation. We can go there even during the day. We can, and I step on the ocean. I'm sitting there looking at the Pacific Ocean, the Hawaii sunset, and yeah, I feel pretty there because I feel like I'm just lost in the sauce. You know, I'm just like I'm just immersed in consciousness at that moment. But yeah, but I think, you know, and you can be that as the personal avatar too. But it's definitely that's the 12th chapter. That's where you get to if you really want to go to. But I think it's still, you can come here and have fun and play and be the personal thing, and then kind of let go and go back there a little bit more. But yeah, it's a process to really grasp that and own that awe and reverence. And true like gratitude, and to be in that place at the same time, still being in a human form body. So
yeah, you mentioned personal attachment as like the block to that. Is that related to identity? And like, if so, how do we detach? How do you recommend detaching from identity, and as a person to be able to connect with all, to be able to co-create with all?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. There is one of the worksheets in the Way program, the Way Home book. Karina did a really good job on like breaking a lot of it down in there, which we talk about. We call them the little I's. So a lot of us identify ego as the, you know, this all-encompassing personality, right? And not a lot. Obviously, like less and less people identify it as that, but that was kind of always the thing, was here's the ego and here's all the things. And usually it was like, you drive a Hummer and you're an asshole and you eat steak. And now it's like people understand that, like, even if you drive a Prius and you think the guy in the Hummer is an asshole, like Eckhart Tolle would say, you're still in your ego, right? There's no place. So we have a thing called, we call them the little I's, because under each personality, overarching is multiple variations of personalities, and under that are more personalities, every belief, concept, idea, formulation, right? This language we've created is kind of is somewhat of the spell we've cast under that identifies all these different things that we attach to. And so there's a worksheet there where we can identify the little I's that we attach to more and more and more. And so that is where I would start. I don't know if there's one encompassing answer for everyone, but I would do the worksheets or their variation of them. Write down every single thing that you think is you, and then understand if you can accept the opposite as well. Like, you are also that and not that. Like, I am smart and stupid. I am healthy and sick. I am, you know, I'm rich and poor. If I can stay, and not to, maybe this is appropriate actually. So if I can stay in what they call like a quantum superposition. So if I can, so instead of the binary ones and zeros, right, the on and off switch, the normal thing that we talk about, if I can stay in both places at once at all times, right, it's both and more. It's never either or. And if I can stay in that state, then how can I judge, you know, anyone else, including myself, because I'm both. So that would make no sense, right? So if we can get in that state, in that kind of superposition state for ourselves and our personality identification, and realize that we are actually neither, and we are something beyond all. We are both and more and none, right? There is no time, no space, no anything. We can get that no thing kind of area. And it's kind of hard to describe, but we can get there, and we loosen up the grip on those identities, those attachments, those things that we truly think we are. And from doing so, the less and less grip they have on us, the more that we, the more that we kind of let go and we have fun with it. And then you can play with it. Then it's malleable. Like, reality is malleable. Your personality is malleable. Then you can have fun with it. Like, I might dye my hair blonde on top, like a little ombre, like a dude ombre, because why not? I don't if not, I'll shave it because I've had a shaved head before. I could just and that's a small dumb thing, but it's a thing, you can play with whatever you want in your reality and in your personality, yourself, and like test on new things. And even the brain itself, I mean, you spend 1 hour focusing on a certain task, you almost like quadruple the amount of neurons that your brain has towards that task.
Damn.
Language. Yeah. It's like literally 1 hour consistently. You can like double up everything you know about that, and your mind's ability to fire and sort and understand and want to know more about that. And so, that's kind of reality itself. If you just spend time doing what you enjoy and doing what you love, and realize that you can let go of all these different attachments you have that are serving you or aren't serving you. Like again, we have to question all of those things, those personalities we have, the egos, the little I's, all these different things that we consider us, because the truest form of us is God. The truest form of us is that highest self that is all, that has no personal preference. And that whole ocean to wave concept, I mean, that's like the Rumi thing. Everyone talks about it. We're always the ocean. The ocean has no identity. And every time we come up as a wave, like Corey Gladwell is a wave, you know, Chris is a wave. It's like for a moment, we're like, oh, I'm a separate self. And they're like, oh, no, I'm not. You know, and it's like, but if you come up as a wave and like, remember you're the ocean, you let that, like, that's a ride, right? You can be the power of the whole ocean and like surf that wave. Like that's what it's all about. So
that's incredible, man. What do you think is important for people building an online brand these days? What's your philosophy around that? What are key important things to remember doing that?
Building an online brand. I always tell everyone, I mean, if it's you, if it's a thought leader thing, and it's about you, or even if it's your company that you're associated with or anything, I think what I've always said is like, think with the end in mind. Like think of the end game always, like not just like the end game financially, but the end game, like what do you really want and what do you want? Like, not that you're going to know what you want 5, 10, 20, 50 years from now, but like, if you could fast forward to that, which you can in the worksheets, we do talk about that, future projections and going to that space. But, you know, if 50 years from now, what does that mean to you? What does it look like to you? What is that brand, you know? And I think when people do that, they let go of a lot of the things they were going to do. But I've seen, they let go of a lot of things they were going to do to brand themselves to make a bunch of money. Because you want to make a bunch of money, go make a porno. Like, go make a porno and you'll blow up, you'll make a bunch of cash and you'll have a brand name. But like, that's, you know what I mean? Like that's, and people think like it's an extreme version of that, but that's pretty much what a lot of people do. They kind of hoard themselves out to get a certain level of something. And no offense to anyone, if anyone takes offense, I'm sorry. I'm not meaning that by any offensive way to anyone, but like, but you know, what do we want truly in the end? What do we truly want in the end for that brand? And then you'll see like, oh, I want to just be who I am, and I want to enjoy what I enjoy, and I want to, you know, live my life and have myself be rewarded for who I am. So then build a brand around that. So like, what does that brand look like? So, you know, like your podcast is amazing, right? Like, I love the brand. I love the excitement, you know, the greatest possible self. And like, you get to do that. You get to focus on that, which is like obviously a passion of yours, obviously a joy, right? Like that same thing. It's the same thing. Like I post memes that I love, either from my books or someone else's. I post pictures of my life and what I'm living. And if I'm like, oh, this is a cool thing I learned, I record it and post it and share it. And like, you can make it aesthetically pleasing, like make the user experience nice. Like as far as the marketing side of me, right? Make the user experience of your emails, of your links, of your Instagram, of your website, of your apps, make it all very user friendly. So your community wants to engage and make them feel a part of. That's a huge branding concept. If the more people you have them that love what you're doing and feel like they're empowered to be themselves in your community, the bigger your ship's going to go. But yeah, so I mean, I think just as far as like the deep core of the branding, be as close to what you always want to do and be, because that's going to feel like less work and more fun and play, and you're going to do it better and longer and be the best at it because it's uniquely you. So.
Hell yeah, man. So, dude, Corey, remind me what the name of the group is. I'm gonna put a link in the comments.
Yeah, it's Unlock the Way is a Facebook group, and my website CoreyGladwell.com. Anyone goes there, or whatever, they can. I think there's ways to find all that as well on there, the bottom of the page too, if they want to. So that's cool. Yeah.
Cool. We'll definitely share that with everyone. So as far as, you know, the final pieces of wisdom so that people can dive into the way and become their greatest possible selves, we can touch on something you've already shared, or just to wrap it up, what would you recommend, man?
So final piece of wisdom for people to become their highest possible self. Honestly, listen, not to me. I mean, as much as I'm a Leo, so as much as I want to say, listen to me, that's not what I mean. But listen to Chris's podcast. No, read all my books. Oh no, I just go do a 20-minute sales pitch.
Right.
No, but listen to yourself. You know, like everyone, like that's the whole thing with the way and everything else is that like and being greatest possible self, you have all the answers. Like the items I wrote in 2012, like if I would have just really been like, if I would have read my own book in 2012 back to myself and took it as the word of God and followed it to the T, like game over. Like I love my about it, but like it would have been a whole different level. And so, not that like it's like my book is the gold for everyone, but everyone has those answers within them. Everything, all the worksheets, all that stuff, everything I do, all those come from your connection to that self. You don't need to go through any other person to find those answers. If you want to come to you or to me or to anyone for that support and that encouragement and accountability, that's what it's all about. That's what we're all here for. Yeah. But as far as those direct answers, everyone has access. So like, ask the questions and listen and listen and listen, and then follow through with it. And then like, see what happens. Stay in the surprise, stay in the magic, and like test it out. Like test it out, have fun with it, and you'll get proven right over and over again until you believe it. Then it just becomes a normal way of life. So.
That's right, man. I love it, dude. Corey, you're on fire. Remind us again how to stay connected with you. Unlocktheway.com. They can go there and get access to the Facebook group. Is it Corey S. Gladwell? Is that your handle, your social media handle as well?
Yeah. So all social media, Corey S. Gladwell. CoreyGladwell.com is my website, and then it has all the Facebook group in there as well. But Unlock the Way, the website, all that. So CoreyGladwell.com pretty much has everything. If they want to just go there, they can get anything they want to reference as far as like what social, books, Facebook groups, anything. So yeah.
Dude, you're on fire, man. Super grateful to be connected and just like see this God consciousness channeling through you and to be impacting our world, man. This is just the freaking beginning of all that you're out to accomplish and build and impact, and the love that you are igniting in the people around you. It's really, really inspiring, man. So thank you so much for who you are and coming on today and sharing all the love, all the wisdom, all the fire, all the energy, man. You're awesome, dude. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, man. That really means a lot. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome, dude. So, hey, have the best day ever, and I'll be talking to you very soon.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome, man. Take care.